Yeah. A guy with claws fought in a bar. I'm sure we're going to talk about it later, but I'm just happy they finally referenced the giant statue sticking out of the earth. Hello and welcome to the Review of Champions. It's time to talk about She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, Episode 2, Superhuman Law. And with me are Loki's mom.
Hi there, hey everybody.
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing wonderful.
Okay. Merv is back. How are you?
Good.
Great to hear. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Taylor first. How are you doing today?
Hey, doing good.
Great. Before we start, I would like to ask you all to hit that like and subscribe button and maybe join our forum on sakar.freeforums.net. It's a nice little community full of nice fans. We would love it if you join us and join the conversation. And if you want, you can be on the show as well. We're going to talk spoilers, so if you haven't seen the episode, go check it out first and then come back to the video. Well, without further ado, let's just get started. Taylor, we got a Wolverine reference. Are you happy about it? And what did you think about the episode?
I'm kind of indifferent to the Wolverine reference. Honestly, I didn't see it when I first saw it. I saw people talking about it online. I went back and checked. Yeah, it's there. But what does it mean? It could there may be no follow-up whatsoever to that little Easter egg, or it could be a harbinger of something coming later. So like I said, I'm kind of indifferent to it. We're going to get Wolverine in the MCU at some point, but I don't expect it to be anytime really soon. I'm just treating it like a cute Easter egg. Mm-hmm. As far as the episode, I thought it was a great episode. Covered a whole lot of ground. Gave us a lot of information in a really short time, and really set the her current situation. She lost her job. She got a new job. She got her first case with Blonsky. We met her family and found out what that situation there is. So it really set the table for going forward, I think.
Mm-hmm. Any negatives about the episode?
No, I really don't have any negatives for this episode. Like I said, I thought it was really good. I thought there were some funny moments. The writing was good. The dialogue was all pretty sharp.
Mm-hmm.
So it worked for me.
Yeah, this is pitched as a comedy show. Is it a comedic enough to be called a comedy show, or is it just fine?
I mean, it's not. I haven't laughed out loud at it yet. I'm expecting more humorous situations to happen as she starts getting into doing her job. But as of now, it's been kind of like a low-key, subtle comedy up to this point, and I'm fine with that. I'm not expecting the Three Stooges or anything from this show.
No, I agree actually. Loki's mom. We get introduced or reintroduced after a whole long time, I think 14 years. Emil Blonsky, aka the Abomination, is back, except of course that little fight scene referenced also in this episode we got in Shang-Chi. And actually, when he got to talk, I thought he had a good point. Didn't you? Do you agree? What do you think about the episode?
Yeah, I would agree because since all that happened 14 years ago or whenever the time span is supposed to be that Hulk and he had the big thing. Yeah, I mean a lot has happened. Things are happening to people they can't help. I mean they're being shot up full of drugs and these government agencies or whatever, they think they're trying to build a defense position or defense industry or something out of this, and they're the victims of it. So yeah, so from that standpoint, yeah, he would have a good argument because he was coerced into this, as it were, into becoming an abomination, and becoming this evil thing that he wouldn't have done otherwise, maybe. But we'll see. So yeah, I think on the face of it, he has a good argument, but he may have something else up his sleeve. So we'll see what happens. For the overall episode, yeah, I mean, I thought it was just funny. Yeah, it's definitely a sitcom. It's witty, the way they present everything. I mean, the way they do just how they film it and film the scenes and set the scenes up. It's definitely a sitcom. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I laughed out loud in several places. I just thought it was just so funny, and yeah, and I'll agree with Taylor on. I don't know what they're going to do. Why would they bring up Wolverine? And they just kind of just let it hang out there. I don't think they would have done it, just as a joke, because like they do, they've done other things occasionally, but like with Batman or something. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'll just thumbs up for this. Last week and this week too. It just seems like this is going to be maybe the best Marvel Disney series yet.
Okay, I can't go with you there because I still think Miss Marvel rules supreme. But yeah, it's a good show. I agree. So, do you have any negative comments on this week's episode?
No, not really. I didn't see anything. I think the way it set up the characters and everything, I really loved it. We'll probably talk about it a little bit more, the family scene, where she goes and she's there, and we sort of get a little insight into that family. She's there when the father says, kiddo, you're not the first Hulk in the family. So, they're gonna be there for her. I think it was a very loving, warm family, even though they were sitting there bickering a little bit, and there's a loser cousin, I just made, he's always been the screw up of the family, probably, and he's been jealous of Jen, but now he's, he feels like they're on the same level now because she got fired. So anyway, it's just stuff like that makes it and you could even say, yeah, like a family drama, maybe in a way. Maybe they'll bring a little bit more of the family into it. I would like to see that, because that's the street level that we've talked about, the common folks. What the heck are they going through? All these superheroes are out there saving the world. We're down here watching it. So, yeah, I think that's a big plus for the whole thing.
Okay. Merv, moving on to you. Emil Blonsky, he mentioned on 2 occasions in his talk with Jen, he had 7 like-minded friends, or 7 soulmates even, he said. Those got to be the Thunderbolts, right?
It very well could be. I would be very excited to see Emil in the Thunderbolts. I mean, I feel like they've only just scratched the surface on what they're going to do with this Abomination character. And I know Tim Roth's getting a little older, but obviously if he goes full Abomination, he can be CGI for the most part. So they can run with him a little bit. And if that's where it leads, I'm very excited for that. And I feel like he would fit into any Thunderbolts group very well.
What did you think about this episode?
I liked it a lot. The humor in it, I thought, worked. I liked all the different, leads to the story. It's only episode 2 out of 9, so you get a lot of introductory plot lines, and not a whole lot of them are super fleshed out yet, but it's heading in a lot of interesting directions. I love the family dynamic that she had, even though a lot of them are, they don't seem very enjoyable to be around for me. But I was very,
that's family.
Yeah, exactly.
You love them, but sometimes they're not really enjoyable to be around.
I did the Leonardo DiCaprio thing when I saw Cousin Larry from Perfect Strangers was her dad. I don't know if anybody else has watched that sitcom. It's from like 30 years ago, but the actor who plays her dad was in Perfect Strangers in the early 90s, maybe late 80s. I don't remember.
Mark Lynn Baker.
Yeah. So, it feels like forever since I saw that guy in anything. So I just did the whole finger point thing. Like, I know that guy. And so that was really fun for me. And then just the whole, I don't know how long they're going to ride the Abomination, legal trial out, but he makes a lot of great points right out of the gate. And it's like, yeah, you can obviously we know it went a little different than he's leaving some things out, but a courtroom may not be able to prove that. You know what I mean? So he might have some angles here, and I don't know if he's fully turned into what he says he is, like reformed and peaceful and whatnot. Bruce seems to think so, based on his telephone conversation. But it wouldn't surprise me if down the road he's like, and then goes full villain again. The only negative I really had was that whether I don't know if it's a structure thing because it felt short. It felt like a shorter episode. And I know it was technically a shorter episode than the first one, but I had that feeling like when it jump cut to the credits, it was like jarring for me because I was expecting more of an episode, like just longer, more stuff. And there was a lot of stuff in there, but it just felt shorter to me.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Actually, when I first watched the episode, seen it now 2 times, I was also like, oh, it's already over. It did feel short. But yeah, they also stretch out those episodes to numbers to 9 for the show. So we still get the same amount of footage, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah. Lokismom, you had a phone.
Yeah, it's called a blackout. That's why they did it, because she does you see the, oh yeah, I've just accepted the case, and I've got this 100%. Then it cuts. Well, you might want to look at the television, and she looks. He's already broken out, so already she's got double trouble on her hands. She's accepted this. He's a fugitive now. So, and then she goes, well, that sucks, and then blackout, and then and I think that's they did it that way. Maybe it didn't. It was maybe a little too ham-handed or something, but yeah, that's actually what they did it for that reason.
Yeah, it's not so much the way they what they did. It's just that it came a little bit too soon for me because at least that's how I felt. Taylor?
Yeah, there's really a lot to unpack here, and just a lot of nuance and side points. Blonsky, first of all, to me, I have always said that Emil Blonsky is one of the best villains in the entire MCU. Tim Roth is an incredible actor, and the way he played him in Hulk, Incredible Hulk, was fantastic. And see, that's kind of the key. Everything he said to her, 100% true. But motivation, his motivation. He didn't want to be a hero. He didn't want to help people and bring about peace. He wanted to fight. And he wanted to continue fighting and stay as young so that he could continue to fight and be challenged and take on people and show that he's better than they are. That was his motivation. And that's why they were so very, very careful about choosing Steve Rogers for that super soldier serum. It was about his character, about what kind of person he was.
Good points, yeah. Good points, Taylor.
Yeah. So anyway, I think Emil Blonsky is fantastic. Mark Lynn-Baker, just a side note, in this most recent past season, the first season of the sitcom Ghost, he had several guest star appearances. He'll probably be in again this season because he plays the neighbor. He's someone who's going to be there quite often, I think. So this is something he's been doing. I noticed in the bar scene very quickly that on the TV screen in the bar was an episode of Ally McBeal was playing.
Yeah,
and so they're definitely leaning into that. So far, the show's not much like Ally McBeal, really, other than she's a female lawyer, and Ally McBeal was a female lawyer. Ally McBeal
that is 100% Ally McBeal. Come on.
Yeah, Ally McBeal was actually a pretty complex show. It covered a whole lot of issues in a comical way for the most part, but it covered a whole lot of legal issues and a whole lot of human interaction and human relationship issues. It's actually a pretty good show. I recommend it if you guys haven't seen it. But we haven't gotten to any real Ally McBeal stuff in this show yet. When I first saw the episode, I thought exactly what Loki's mom was saying, that he was out in the world somewhere. He had broken out and he had escaped. But after going back and watching it again, I don't think that's the case. I think it's just the video is from the past, has leaked online.
Yes,
he's still in his cell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
because and I went back to Shang-Chi and checked. When Wong opens the portal and goes through, his cell is there. He goes back to the cell that is in in She-Hulk. The exact same cell. So I think he's still, as far as I can tell at this point, I think he's still in his cell. It's just this video is leaked online showing that he has gotten out in the past and taken part in this fighting ring, which is really strange to me. I can't wait to find out why Wong is breaking this guy out and participating in these fights. Was he trying to gain intel or something? or was he need? I mean, he doesn't need money.
Ooh,
but go ahead.
I have a question. because that is the thought that popped into my head. And now we're getting into open discussion. I also had the same thought as Taylor. Why is Wong taking out Abomination? And we know Wong is in She-Hulk. He was in the trailers or in the commercials. We know he's in. So that got me thinking. And there's a guy behind the Thunderbolts. What if it's Wong? What if is he the guy that Sharon Carter's talking to on the phone at the end of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier? What if he's the guy who is pulling the strings behind the Kingpin? When Yelena Belova gets hired through the Kingpin and Kate Bishop's mom and stuff like that. But there's a higher up. You have the constant of the feeling there's somebody, Val is working for someone. What if it's Wong?
That would be a twist. Why? I mean, why would the Sorcerer Supreme be doing that? I wonder.
Yeah, that's what I wonder too. But that's really the thought that came into my head. Wong
Maybe he's a Skrull.
May have. Wong may have an agenda to may have a problem which he can't use the Avengers for, or there's no Avengers, so he needs a team, and he has found somebody to get him some people who are superpowered individuals, or at least highly skilled individuals, and to create a team like that that can do his bidding, because there are no Avengers. Shang-Chi is the son of a mafia lord, a Chinese mafia lord. So let's just say he did the right thing, but it doesn't. It looks like, you know, the son of a villain. So his reputation may be questionable. Stuff like that came to my mind. What do you guys think? Am I onto something here, or am I talking nonsense?
I wouldn't know. You guys know more about these stories than I do, so I'm really excited about what I'm hearing.
I've jokingly speculated that Wong is secretly like maybe the Skrull Queen from the Secret Invasion storyline, just because he shows up in everything in Phase 4, and I'm starting to talk myself into it in a real sense. You know, I've
so
said
this doesn't help.
No, this. I mean, it's all just lining up. You know, I'm Charlie in the boardroom, like with all the pins on the thing. And,
I know. I know. But
yeah, it's really weird because I didn't, you know, when the scene was in Shang-Chi, I thought it was odd, but I didn't think anything of it because I just thought it was an Easter egg. It was just they were trying to force a connection to the greater MCU, and there wasn't going to be anything to come of it later on. Now, stuff is coming of it. So I'm really curious as to what the plan is here. And I have no idea if you're right or if it's something completely different.
Well, let's see. The Incredible Hulk, generally not really the most hailed movie in the MCU. I personally have a love for it. It has its flaws, I know, but I still really love it. I always enjoy watching it. Did this episode do anything for that movie? Did it give it a bigger depth? Does it renew your appreciation or enlarge your appreciation for this movie? I want to know.
I've always
Go ahead, Merv.
I've always personally had a love for that movie. Like up until this most recent rewatch that we kind of did, it was up there with like Iron Man and I guess the Avengers in Phase 1. It was like one of my top 3, and it kind of drifted down the ranks on a rewatch. But I still really love it, especially whenever it came out. I remember seeing Blonsky in that before he goes full Abomination, and he You know, it was like you could see what they're going to do with Captain America before Captain America showed up, and I just was remember being really excited about that, like the way he was cartwheeling and shooting as he was dodging the Hulk smashing, and I just really like it. I don't really understand why it was so negatively received. I guess I don't really see what people didn't like about it, you know, honestly. So I'm glad that they're kind of not treating it like the black sheep of the MCU anymore. Like, you know, a few other films, they've never treated like Thor: The Dark World like the black sheep, but this one, for some reason, they've just kind of ignored up until recently, and I like that it's getting some love now.
Besides Thunderbolt Ross, who showed up all of a sudden in Civil War. But Lokismom?
You know, I haven't seen The Incredible Hulk in a long, long time, and not since it came out. So I really need to go back and look at it, I guess, at this point. The only thing I kind of remember about it, I mean, you know, I thought it was okay. I don't remember liking it or hating it or either way. I mean, you know, I enjoyed it for what it was, but I think they kind of all through this MCU, they've kind of ruined Thunderbolt Ross' character. I mean, I think by Civil War, he's just like really, you know, just full on corrupt. And I wish they had not done that to him, because I think he's one of the great characters of the, you know, from what I remember when I was a kid, when I read all the comics, because he was one of my favorites. But yeah, you know, I don't know. I guess you're right. I think it's been an outlier. It's been sort of out. You kind of maybe call it phase 0 of the MCU, and maybe we can stack some of those sort of redheaded stepchildren movies into that. Give him some love. So yeah, it belongs in the MCU. It should be considered a part of it, part of the whole saga.
Yeah, Taylor, I know you like the Incredible Hulk, but did this episode remind you that you like the Incredible Hulk, and maybe give it a little bit more appreciation for it?
Well, I've always loved the Incredible Hulk. I loved it when I saw it, and I still love it, and I think it's top tier MCU. What I like about this episode, referencing it, is it's reminding other people how good it is, and that it's there. And, you know, I mean, it's always been there. It's not like they've ever rejected it or anything. It's just, you know, it just didn't cross over with the other stuff in there. And I'm glad now it is. I'm glad people are getting a chance to rethink it. Maybe people go back and watch it again and have more appreciation for it if we're lucky. Real quick, I think I wanted to mention, bringing it back to Ally McBeal for a second. You know, there was an actor in Ally McBeal. His name was Robert Downey Jr. And he got fired from Ally McBeal because of getting arrested for drugs in his personal life. So let's hope that helped him straighten himself out so that he could play Iron Man in the MCU later on.
I would say you're absolutely right, Taylor.
Yeah.
More reason to love Ally McBeal. They fired him so he could play Iron Man.
So basically, you're saying because of Ally McBeal, we have the MCU. No.
There you go.
Well. So it's MCU canon now. Absolutely. No. Well, yeah. I could ask a silly question like, do you guys have a map of your workplace where you best poop and stuff like that? But let's just skip that stuff and let's dive into a rating round. Lokismom, I want to hear from you first.
I'll give it an 8.5.
8.5
yeah,
out of 10, I hope.
Yep, out of 10, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, it could also be 8.5 out of 85, so that's not so good. Merv?
I'll give it an 8. Another 8. I really like it, but in different ways than the first episode. Same level of excitement, just a little more redirected.
Okay. Taylor?
I gave episode 1 an 8. I'm giving this one a 10 because I just think it did a really good job of showing us her life, where it is right now, showing us more about her state of mind, where she's at right now. And of course, it set up that, you know, it set up, I don't know if it's going to be the only story or the main story for the rest of the season or not, but it's definitely set up a big story, which of course is connected to the larger MCU. So I just think it did a really good job in this episode.
Yeah, I agree. Therefore, I crank it up a little bit. I go for an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed this episode. It was a lot of fun, and I really could relate to Jen, having been fired at one occasion myself, and the struggles you have. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I hope they continue this quality. Then they go out with a bang when it comes to Marvel Disney Plus shows for Phase 4, at least in my book. So.
Hey, what about that spaceship?
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's unpack that. Are we getting close to Planet Hulk, or maybe even World War Hulk? I mean, he's on his way to Sakaar. That means Scar, his son. What's happening here?
Well, we talked about it the other night on Jeff's True Knowledge show over at the Bleeding Edge, and that got to be a major thing. One of the podcasters there, Jasmine, she really had a lot of good information about that, and kind of brought us up to date. I had no idea the Hulk had an affair for 2 years, but I'm trying to imagine who he had an affair with. But we'll see.
Poor girl, but yeah, he was a rock star on Sakaar. So yeah, or like a sports icon or whatever, or the equivalent of that. So yeah, it stands to reason that he would attract the attention of women. At least if I have to believe what's happening in the real world. So Taylor.
Yeah, this is tough because I mean, they may do something here in the future and call it World War Hulk or Planet Hulk. Planet Hulk is actually more likely, but World War Hulk. But just like they did with Civil War, it's not going to bear any resemblance to the comic book story that's called World War Hulk. All right, the World War Hulk comic book story does not translate to movies, and it especially does not translate to the 616 MCU universe. I just can't see it. World War Hulk takes place in a universe that has the Illuminati. You know, I don't think we're going to have the Illuminati in 616. I sure as heck hope not. What a bunch of assholes, right?
Well, they may get a strange idea when he came back from 838.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, right now I think we have no freaking idea. I think, yeah, and plus that's a huge story. I mean, you could literally make a whole phase out of it. You know, if you followed the whole Planet Hulk, World War Hulk scenario thing. So I don't think it translates well. Like I said, they may take elements of it and use it to make a Hulk movie, or it's more than just Hulk. First of all, it's the world. The reason the world is in the title is it's Hulk against all the other superheroes. But if they are doing that, it's got to be a long ways off, because, like I said, to put that in the middle of the multiverse saga would just be, I don't know. I just think it would be too much, too fast. It would clog up the saga they're telling now.
Yeah, exactly. It would be a distraction more than added. Merv, any thoughts?
I agree that if they do any resemblance of either the Planet Hulk, what they haven't touched on already, like the Rebellion side of that storyline, or any sort of version of World War Hulk that may or may not actually have Hulk as the main villain of the story, it's going to be very different than the one that everyone's familiar with. The other thing I was just thinking about is, when does Universal's rights go out anytime soon? Because
2023.
Because this would, in theory, be almost a solo Hulk venture, and if they're going to do it, maybe a TV show. I don't know how it all works, what they can do without dealing with Universal, and what they can't.
No.
But
the distribution deal for Universal ends in 2023.
Yeah. So
then the rights revert back to Marvel, and then they can make solo Hulk movies again and put them out in the theater.
Okay, so maybe that's down the cards. Also, I feel like we would have heard about it by now, but I was thinking maybe he's in space. Guardians of the Galaxy are in space. Maybe he shows up there or something. But as far as what's going on in Sakaar, I'd love to go back to Sakaar. I just want to see it again. And Jeff Goldblum.
Everybody should come to Sakar. Sakar
Yeah.
is the best place in the
Sakar is
whole
great.
wide internet. Come on. We have a hope.
We have a hope.
Yeah, I really have no
I
idea
don't
what
over there.
what all the legal stuff is right now with
Yeah.
Universal. Plus, I hope there's no way Universal can keep the rights. You know, sometimes they'll put a clause in there that if they do something with the character, they extend the rights for 10 years or something like that. I hope not. But I really wonder, because maybe that's why we haven't seen Blonsky as much since then. Maybe it has something to do that he can't cross over with other things except like on television or something. Maybe
Right.
that's why he can be in this show. He was mentioned several times in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I mean, I just don't know at this point.
He was also mentioned in a few of the one-shots.
Yes, that's true. I want to see the leader show up at some point.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Now those rights, they are coming back to Marvel in a few months or in a year. I don't know exactly the date, of course, in 2023, but it's somewhere in 2023 they will expire those rights, those distribution rights. They don't hold rights to make a movie. So Marvel doesn't make movies, so Universal has nothing to distribute, so those rights will automatically go back to Marvel. There's no issue there. So so then they can pick up storylines they have dropped in The Incredible Hulk. Like the leader. And any chance he may show up actually in She-Hulk?
Could be.
Be interesting.
That would be interesting.
So there's
I'm sorry. One thing about this episode that kind of struck me was at the very beginning when they were talking about what happened in the courtroom and the way they referred to Titania.
Yeah.
Super powered influencer, they call her. So there are people with superpowers now showing up on the internet, advertising themselves, making themselves influencers, and seeking fame and stuff. Which we'll talk about this stuff later on. But to me,
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. What's going on, with the regular folk and what they're having to deal with, and these wild folk getting on the internet and setting,
Exactly. And not to get ahead of the MCU at this point, but my question is, the whole thing about X-Men, and I can tell you all why X-Men suck later, but the whole thing about X-Men is, oh my God, these superpowered people are so horrible. X-Men aren't going to be anything different by the time they show up in the MCU. There's so many we got a Hulk, we got She-Hulk, we've got Spider-Man, we've got Fantastic Four. Who cares if an X-Man shows up?
Wolverine.
Yeah, okay, but basically what happened in the MCU so far, it's freak accidents, basically. That gives people superpowers. But to have like a group, they have to like a group of people that have like superpowers because their genes are different.
There's a whole city called New Asgard of superhuman people in Norway. Okay. It's a tourist attraction.
Now they're aliens. Lokismom.
Yeah, I'm talking about, Taylor mentioned Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because they had the whole thing of, that was like almost the whole, what the show was about, was finding these mutants and they had got
Inhumans.
The Terrigen mist on them, and there's like a lot of crossover there between mutants and all that. So I think it's going to be, it could be a big can of worms if they don't handle it right.
Yeah, we'll see. We will just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Did I forget to mention anything, or are we done here?
Just that Titania chalked up her rampage to low blood sugar. So.
Oh, did she? I didn't catch it.
Yeah, it was on the opening news clip where they
really
interviewing people. Yeah, on the bottom it said like she blamed it on
so much stuff. Yeah, I didn't catch.
Low blood sugar. There's all kinds of like little Easter eggs in the news stuff. It's fun.
Low blood sugar.
Yeah.
They said she was in traffic court, right? So she probably got pulled over for drunk driving or something.
Got a speeding ticket, showed up.
It's like a superpowered Kardashian,
Yeah. Oh my God, that's a horror.
I think it's time to close up the episode, because if we start talking about the Kardashians, we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Shout out to the Holloway he is so laid back. He doesn't seem to face this guy at all. So I think he's kind of like a little standout side character that I just want to make.
Who was that?
Holloway, the lawyer, the head of the
her new boss.
GLK, whatever.
Yeah, he was really laid back. He was very casual about firing people. Did you catch what he was telling the assistant? Tell him he's fired, and tell him he's going to Minnesota because he hates the cold or something like that.
Okay, this will conclude our review for episode 2 of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, Superhuman Law. Before we finish, I would like to ask you to hit that subscribe button and notification bell on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, like our Facebook page, join the forum on Sakar. Hulk is coming our way. That way you will never miss us and we won't have to miss you. Bye.